Yo, welcome back to my channel. You all know Phantom Rage just dropped a while ago, and with that, Speedroid's got some pretty nice tools to play around with. Especially our extra deck got a decent buff with these guys here. So for today, first I'm going to give you a quick rundown of my updated Speedroid list, then afterwards I will give you a more detailed explanation of my card choices. Then in the third part of the video I will show you how to turn the pure Speedroid list into a Battlewasp version, because after I put out my Speedroid Battlewasp combo video, a lot of you guys requested my Speedroid Battlewasp list. And finally, in the last part I want to discuss which of the two versions comes out on top. For the Speedroids, we play 1 top, 3 marble, 3 tuck, 3 car, 2 dukes, 1 yo-yo and lastly 1 plane. Our non-Speedroid wind monsters are 3 wind, 3 horses, 1 princess and 1 warbluran. Then for the spells we play 1 Italy and 3 recoveries. And finally, this is just an example what you could play in the last 14 flex slots. 3 Ash, 2 Ogre, 3 Nip, 3 Book of Moon, 1 Called By and 2 Ice Dragon Prison. In the extra deck we are on 2 Shooter and 1 Auroradon for our links, 1 Totem Bird and 1 Levy for our Xyz, then Hagoita and Chanbara on level 5, Juju and Stardust Charge on level 6, Wind Pegasus as our only level 7, and finally our boss monsters are Triple Crystal Wing and Kite Drake on level 8 and Shen Shen on level 9. So here you got the whole build one time, but now let's dive deeper into specific card choices and deck building theory. First we got our 2 1-card starters, Terratop and Marble Machine. I feel these guys are pretty self-explanatory. I mean, Terratop is literally the best card in the whole engine, and Marble Machine is a 1-card Crystal Wing plus draw 1, and now even a 1-card Shen Shen plus draw 1, both absolutely phenomenal cards. For our Speedroid extenders we got 3 Taketomborg and 3 Turbo. These two are the best in-theme extenders, therefore both are mandatory 3-offs. Then we got 2 Daiko Dukes as our primary Taketomborg target. He's another extender in the grave and he's a level 3, and running 2 is pretty much the most optimal ratio, because even turn 1 you often want to set up the second Duke as your follow-up. Then 1 plane, you 100% need this card to link climb into Auroradon, except that it can make Kite Drake. Lastly the 1 yo-yo. Yo-yo is just a great searchable follow-up, and going first he's strong in many different combos involving shooter, but I wouldn't recommend running more than 1 copy because you don't want to open him, you only want to search yo-yo. So now for the non-Speedroid cards we play 3 Win. This is our 1.5 card combo starter, and don't forget that Win actually has a second effect where she can special summon herself when a wind monster is destroyed by battle, because this effect actually comes up sometimes. For example, when your opponent uses droplets in damage step. Another thing is, when you use Win, pay attention to what you discard. Always consider what happens if Win gets ashed. Sometimes people even throw Gamma at Win, so choose your discard wisely. Then we play 3 Hasty Horse. In general, I have to admit I'm not a huge fan of wind extenders in Speedroids, but out of all the wind extenders available, Hasty Horse is definitely the best one, because he's a level 5 and that's really good for making Kite Drake going second. This and the fact that you can special summon him before you commit to your normal summon makes him, in my opinion, superior to all other wind extenders out there. Next we play the 1 Yang Liang. She's one of the newest additions to the deck, and this princess is so good because she turns Italy into the best extender of the deck. Also, if you draw her, she's another strong normal summon and an even better discard for win, so definitely play her. Also, as long as you use her for XC summon, she's a resource that will come back every turn. On top of that, if you use her for a synchro summon, you can recycle your banished monsters, which makes super nice resource management in the mid and late game. For our Auroradon target we play one Wabluran just because he makes Hagoita. I mean, sometimes you can make Chanbara going second, or you use him with Stardust Charge to go into Crystal Wing, but mainly he makes Hagoita. Like Olion, just a lot worse. Then for the spells we play Speed Recovery and E-Tally. E-Tally, holy, this card is by far the best extender in the deck because it's basically 2 extenders plus a follow-up all in one card, so this card is nuts. And then of course Speed Recovery. It's a decent extender, but the main reason why Recovery is so good is because of the second effect where you get a Speedroid card back from your grave. It just helps tremendously in the grind game. I actually recorded this footage right before the current ban list dropped, that's why my flex slots should probably look a little bit more like this. So when I choose these flex slots, I usually try to include more utility cards and less extenders. And I said it before, I'm not a huge fan of extenders in this list because I don't want my build to be like an all-out pure gas combo deck. The major problem I have with playing more extenders is that more gas in Speedroids doesn't necessarily raise the ceiling of the deck. Even if you have like 4 combo pieces, it's difficult to build more than 2 disruptions. Also, more extenders doesn't necessarily make your combo more robust against interruptions, especially all the combos that start with Link Summoning Rubber Band Shooter have very obvious choke points. These are really the 2 major reasons why, as you can see here, I like to include lots of utility cards and play the deck more like a control strategy, like Salad for example. So when you choose these utility cards, I always say play whatever floats your boat, though generally I recommend non-wind hand traps because often turn 1 you only go for Shenshen draw 1 and then having any of these in hand allows you to revive Shenshen. So basically all non-wind hand traps are not only disruptions, on top of that they also are Monster Reborn for Shenshen. Generally, I also dig all of the Ghost Girls because they have lots of utility outside of being a hand trap. I already said that you can use them to revive Shenshen, but since they are all level 3, you can also just normal summon any of them and trigger Nyan Nyan, then either make a Levy play or you could even use them as a tuner, so just great utility cards. Finally, I want to talk about Ghost Ogre. Ogre is honestly not the best hand trap this format, but I still always consider running 1 copy because Ogre gives you a secondary E-Tally target, and once you got Shenshen online, Ogre is sometimes even the superior E-Tally target. So that wraps up the main deck. Let's check out the extra. For the links we play 2 shooters and 1 Auroradon, that's exactly like last time. Then for our XCs we are on Levy and Totem Bird. These guys are both mandatory in my opinion. Then for the synchros we play Hagoita and Chanbara for our level 5s. By the way, Hagoita is my favorite Speedroid of all time, just so that you know. On level 6 we play Stardust Charge Warrior. This card got a lot better because now we can synchro climb into Shenshen. Also, we don't play Reptile anymore, instead we play Juju as our second level 6. Juju is basically like Beals that can also send any card from the field to the grave. And this is actually pretty insane because Speedroids didn't really have non-destructing removal. Actually, the deck didn't have any spot removal outside of Auroradon's first effect. So we actually summon Juju a lot, especially after we get nipped. On level 7 we play Wind Pegasus. I think he's the best level 7 synchro for Speedroids right now. This card feels really strong post Phantom Rage because after you banish him for shooter, you can use Shenshen to put him back into your grave, and I really love these small interactions, it's so cool. And on top of that, he's also really good against the dog stuff, like Maximus specifically. Then for our boss monsters, on level 8 we play 3 Crystal Wing and 1 Kite Drake. Honestly, you could also run 2-2, so 2 of each. but I prefer 3-1 slightly more because after the no-link combo we go through 2 Crystal Wings and it's just nice to have one of each left after that. And lastly, our greatest new addition, finally TCG legal, Virtual World QB Xianxian. This card is just perfect. It's a mini macrocosm on legs. It can recycle dukes, cast Nyang-Nyangs and hand traps. It has built-in recursion, and on top of all of that, it looks absolutely gorgeous. This card I feel gave the deck a lot more utility because before Xianxian I would always just go for double Crystal Wing boards. But now we can also build Xianxian boards as an alternative. At locals, I do run 1 copy of Kendama as well, not in the main but in the side deck, because close to time or in time you can use Kendama to burn for 500. You can even summon Kendama before your 5th summon to burn without getting into Nibiru range, and you can also summon Kendama to burn for 500 and then synchro climb into Xianxian. And if time gets called, either in your turn or in your opponent's main phase, you can steal the match with this card. So this is the pure Speedroid deck in all of its glory, but now let me show you what the deck would look like with the Battlewasp engine. As you can see here, this is the Battlewasp engine that I used in my Speedroid Battlewasp combo tutorial. The link to that video I will put in the description below. The engine requires 5 main deck slots if you run Twinbow and 2 extra deck slots. Then I would also add a Foolish to the engine as well, because Foolish is just another way to access Sting, but you can also send Nyang-Nyang, Duke, Car or even Top, so it's a fairly flexible card. So now in order to play these 8 cards, we need to cut a few cards from the pure version. First I would cut the horses, because I don't want to cut 6 utility cards, and with the Wasp we have more wind monsters anyway. Next I would cut Yo-Yo, because playing Yo-Yo requires a level 7 synchro, and we don't have the extra deck space to do that in the Battlewasp version. Also with Sting we basically play 3 more good normal summons, so this deck could get tricky in combination with Yo-Yo. Finally, we need to cut 2 flex slots from the main deck to make room for the Battlewasp engine. Next, we need to cut 2 extra deck monsters to accommodate Marcha and Cicada King, but this is quite difficult in my opinion. So without Yo-Yo, we don't need a level 7 anymore, so we can definitely cut Wind Phoenix, though cutting one of the other synchros is far from optimal, but I guess you could cut one of the 3 Crystal Wings, but then the problem is that you often need to banish your only kite track to climb into Auroradon. I almost forgot, when I play the Battlewasp version, I also play 1 copy of Mecha Phantom Beast Blue Impala. This card is not only strong in the Battlewasp combos, Impala also makes it that even without Yo-Yo, Marble Machine is still a guaranteed Xianxian, which is huge. That's basically it. Put these guys in, take these out, and boom, you have a Speedroid Battlewasp build. Firstly, the main reason why you would want to run the Wasp engine is that Sting in combination with Tuck, Top or Win allows you to raise your ceiling. As you can see here in the sequence from my Battlewasp combo video, on average the Battlewasp combos can put out 1, sometimes 2 additional disruption. That's pretty nice, and I feel the boards are more well rounded, since often you have access to spell and trap disruption in form of Totem Bird. The pure version on the other hand might have a slightly lower ceiling, but you play better through hand traps because the no-link combos are already pretty resilient against any hand trap except Gamma or Ash on Tuck. Then the Battlewasp version definitely plays more into hand traps. First, none of the Battlewasp combos can play through Nip, and also many of the Wasp combos are worse at playing through Imperm, Veiler, which really sucks. Then my pure build with Hasty Horse and 2 more hand traps definitely is better going second as well, because Horse enables kite drag plays. Also Pin, no pin means 1 less brick, and since you don't need to run Marcha or Cicada King, you have more extra deck space. And this is a really huge point for the pure version. Overall, both versions are strong, but at the end of the day I think the pure version is just a little better for all the reasons that I just mentioned. But nonetheless, I have to give Battlewasp a style point, because Come on, nothing feels better than negating your own cards with Cicada King and plussing from it, and then beating your opponent with freaking Battlewasp. One of the coolest and strongest engines that you can play in Speedroids for sure. With that, thanks for watching, leave a like or a comment cause I really appreciate all the feedback that I get from you guys. Until next time, Aerosol signing out.